If I eat this entire kilogram of peanut butter, will I be 1.49% peanut? No, I would be only 1.42% peanut, because then I would weigh 70 kilograms. And yes, I do in fact weigh 69 kilograms. Thank you for asking. But this begs an important question. It's falling off of my face. But this begs an important question. Am I nothing more than the food that I eat? No. Because I get most of my energy from the oxygen that I breathe, and vitamin D from the sun, and occasionally an injection from a doctor. But if I ask you if you're just your body, you'll say no without hesitation. If you replace the sails of a ship, and then the floorboards, and then the mast, and then the whatever, over time replacing every part of the ship, is it the same ship? The only thing that remains the same is its name and the story it carries, but the story it carries, that evolves over time. Well, certain cells in your body do last from birth to death, notably your brainstem and the insides of the lenses in your eyes. Those last from birth to death. But generally, the vast majority of your cells are replaced every 7 years. Statistically speaking, you'll have a 99% new body about 10 times in a typical lifetime. Also, while your consciousness is a manifestation of your prefrontal cortex, your amygdala, your vagus nerve, and your gut biome, those physical structures are not you. Many people identify with their beliefs, which is unhealthy and an impediment to growth. If you call yourself a Republican, Democrat, Christian, Muslim, atheist, Hindu, you're priming yourself to reject any ideas that are labeled as outsider. You'll also interpret a personal attack whenever someone merely disagrees with an opinion associated with your in-group. You can't call yourself your thoughts either, because those are so transient, passing so quickly. Also, we all have intrusive thoughts, which make the entire argument meaningless. If you are able to define yourself by where you come from, good for you. But I don't consider myself American because I don't want to associate myself with the military-industrial complex and war profiteering. I kept traveling because I was looking for where I considered home. But if I tell a Brazilian that I am Brazilian, they'd laugh at me and ask, "Não, na verdade, de onde é você?" If you are able to define yourself by the love that your family showed you, good for you. But for me, family? Blech. Blech. Do not call yourself your experiences. Your interpretation of the events in your life is so dyed by your perspective. We justify our decisions with the superfluous context of our lives, while oversimplifying the agency of others. And besides, our memory is not an accurate documentation of events. Every time you remember some event, a few details of the memory changes. Every time you re-upload and re-download a file, a few kilobytes get corrupted. Every time you photocopy of a document, a few pixels blur. Your memory is not an accurate representation of the past, and the farther back in the past you remember, the less accurate your memory. You can't step in the same river twice because it's not the same river and you're not the same you. Everything about you changes. Everything. You're mostly the same as you were yesterday, but you're only similar to who you were a year ago, and you're barely recognizable to yourself a decade ago. I do absolutely, however, support defining yourself by your behavior. Actions speak louder than words, louder than intentions, louder than desires. Victoria Leigh Soto died a hero protecting her students in the Sandy Hook shooting. Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai, Harriet Tubman, Desmond Goddamn Doss. We are defined by our actions. I have been struggling with self-value since the breakup. In the 3 years that I traveled, my energy was so occupied by survival. I didn't have time to ask myself what I was worth. I hadn't yet solidified the second level in my hierarchy of needs, so I wasn't able to look at any higher levels. Then, suddenly, I was loved. I skipped a step and was faced with questions that I wasn't yet ready to answer. Now I have solidified the second level in my hierarchy of needs, but she is gone. And on top of that, Christmas is just around the corner. In my meditation, I realized that I only feel good about myself when someone is giving me attention. I noticed that the majority of my journal entries just talk about romantic partners or social acceptance. But time and time again, I have cut relationships. I've cut people out of my life under the idea that I would rather be alone than mistreated. When someone is mistreating you, so much of your energy goes to emotional survival. But when you're alone, you can devote your energy to meeting new people, potentially someone who won't mistreat you. The first 100, 200, 500 words of this video, I talked about the importance of non-attachment to identity. But I have found that reminding myself of the person I'm trying to become gives me a target to direct my energy, as well as hope, not just for a brighter future, but a future that validates my refusal to commit suicide. Writing the steps to get my student visa tells me why I should save money. Practicing Portuguese gives me a reason to leave the house. And becoming a paramedic shows me the skills that I need to develop. Also, vaguely related, I have observed myself indirectly giving myself fatherly advice. I have caught myself on multiple occasions imagining myself at a party, also attended by a familyless, directionless 18-year-old who is, in my daydream, experiencing a similar situation to what I am experiencing in my real life at the moment of daydreaming. In this illusion, I give the young adult honest advice that I hope will help them make wise choices, regardless of whether it'll make them feel better. And strangely, I never chose this exercise. It just kind of happened, and it is without a doubt the healthiest accident I've ever made. Also, side note, Phineas Gage had a metal rod shot through his brain in 1848. Friends who knew him before and after the accident reported that he was not the same person before and after. It is scientifically well documented that traumatic brain injuries and non-lethal electrocution do hamper the victim's reasoning and self-control. Anecdotally, I get depressed if I haven't had any nicotine in a few hours, and irrational if I haven't eaten. As much as I purport free will and existential agency, I have to take care of this meat bag, this flesh prison that carries me from the womb to the tomb.